In this lesson, we're going to learn how to find the surface area of a rectangular prism. So the first thing, to find surface area of an object, you need to find the area of every single side in the figure. Well, if you take a look at the picture of this box, and it might even help to look at a box in real life and think about how many different sides are on that box. There are 6 sides on a box. Okay, and in a shape like this, a rectangular prism, all of the sides are rectangles. So there are basically 6 rectangles that we need to find the area of. What I like to do is break it down into some different categories because some of them are the same. For example, the top is the same as the bottom. So if we find the area of one of them, the top or the bottom, we can just multiply it by 2 and then we have both. The front is the same as the back. So if we find the area of the front, then we multiply it by 2 and we have both the front and the back. And the left side is the same as the right side. So again, if we find one of those sides, all we have to do is multiply it by 2 and then we have both. So I'm going to break it down into those categories. So if we start with top and bottom, I'm just going to trace the top for you. And we have to find the area of that rectangle. Well, the formula for area of a rectangle is length times width, or base times height. So here, this dimension would be 3 because it's the same as this dimension down here. And this dimension would be 5 because it's the same as this dimension down here. So to find the area of the top, we're going to do 3 times 5, and that gives us 15. So the top has an area of 15. But that would also be the same as the area of the bottom. So I'm going to do 15 times 2, and that's going to give me the area of the top and the bottom together, which is 30. And that would be inches squared. All right, so let's move on to front and back. So I'm going to trace the front, and again, it's a rectangle. So to find the area of the rectangle, I have to do length times width, which is going to be 3 times this dimension here is the same as this dimension here because they're parallel to each other. That's how I can tell they're the same. So that's 2 also. So 3 times 2 is 6, and then that's the area of the front. And the area of the back would be the same as that. So if we do 6 times 2, we have the front and the back. So that would be 12 inches squared. All right, so now we have left and right. So I'm going to trace the right side here. And again, it's a rectangle. So area of a rectangle is length times width, which in this case, the length is 5, and the width is 2. And that gives us 10. So that's the area of this side. And that would be the area, the same as the area of the other side. So I have to do 10 times 2, and that gives me 20 inches squared. So then the last thing we have to do is add all these together. So 30 plus 12 plus 20, and so that would be 62, and then that would be square inches. So the area of the entire figure, surface area of the entire figure is 62 inches squared. Example. Again, we're going to find the surface area, and we can break the surface area down into some different sides. So this is a box, and a box has 6 sides, and all the sides are rectangles. So we have to find the area of 6 rectangles. I'm going to break it down into the top and the bottom, the front and the back, the left and the right. Okay, so let's start with the top. So I'm going to trace the top, and it's a rectangle. So the area of a rectangle is length times width. So the length is this side here, which would be 2, and the width is this side here, which is the same as the 6. So we have to do 2 times 6, which gives us 12. So the area of the top is 12, and I'm going to multiply that by 2 so I get the top and the bottom. So that's 24 meters squared. So now I'm going to do the front. Okay, it's another rectangle, so I'm going to do length times width. The length is 2 times the width is 5. 2 times 5 is 10, so the area of the front is 10. To get the area of the front and the back, I'm going to do 10 times 2, which gives me 20 meters squared. All right, and left and right. So if I trace the right side here, again, the formula is length times width. which the length would be 6, times the width here is 5. 6 times 5 is 30, and so this area is 30. So to get both the left and the right, I have to do 30 times 2, which gives me 60 meters squared. So now to find the area, the surface area of the whole thing, I need to add those together. So this is my top and my bottom, my front and my back, my left and my right. 20 times 60 is, 20 plus 60 is 80, plus 24 gives me 104 meters squared for the surface area of this figure. So again, I have another rectangular prism that I'm finding the surface area of. In a rectangular prism, there are 6 sides, and they are all rectangles. And the formula for area of a rectangle is length times width. So I'm going to break this down into top and bottom, left and right, front and back. All right, let's start with the top. So if I trace the top, length would be 8 and width would be 7. So 8 times 7 gives me 56. And so the area of the top is 56. Oops, I'm sorry. And so then we have 56 times 2, so we can get the top and the bottom would be 112, and this would be yards squared. So for left and right, I'm going to trace this side here, and the length is 7 times the width is 2, which gives me 14. And so then that's the area of this side. So to get the left and the right, I'm going to do 14 times 2, which gives me 28 yards squared. And then I'm going to do front and back. So I'm going to trace the front, and it's a rectangle, so it's length, which is 8, times the width, which is parallel to this one here, so it's 2. So that's 16. So the area of the front is 16. And then to get the front and the back, I'm going to multiply that by 2, which gives me 32 yards squared. So to finish this off, I'm going to add all those together. So I have 112 plus 28 plus 32, and that gives me a total of 172 square yards for the surface area. So those are some examples of how to find surface area of a rectangular prism.